Before heading to the video, if you haven't subscribed the channel, do subscribe it and don't forget to click the bell icon for the latest update notification. If you like the video, do like, comment and share. Stay tuned with learnbay.co. Happy learning!
And again, this is just introduction to recommendation systems, but the problem is once we do sort of a hands-on, I'll show you guys the workflow. It's a little bit big file, but I'll explain you what I'm doing in that particular code, and I'll explain you anything that is new so that you guys will get an idea like this is not like the only way of building recommendation systems, but you can see that this is more or less what a basic recommendation systems can do, right? So first we'll understand what is a recommendation system, what is its job, and then you can and then I'll show you the example that I have built, and then we'll see like how we can connect the dots from recommendation system and the code. Okay, so the remaining topics, so after this there is time series, the basics, and then remaining whatever the topics were missed along the way, so all of those topics will be covered. Okay, once we cover all of this, then I'll share a URL where you can pick what type of project you guys want to do, and based on who the maximum votes will do that particular project. Okay, so this will be one of the project that we'll do, and then there will be a lot of projects coming along the way as and when let's say some other batch is doing a project, or here and there are a lot of projects. Once in a while some other instructors will come and do some projects from outside, so you can always join all of those. Right, so but by now I hope you guys got some hang of it, how to start, how to get started, how to do basic data cleaning, what is the workflow like, right? So I see that a lot of people are already submitting code, but if you have not submitted or practiced, again I'm going to say as you practice more, only you will get improve your chances in interviews. So oftentimes people come back after like 1 month and say, Mani, I forgot everything. Yes, you will forget unless you keep practicing, right? So this is what my experience has been from students from previous batches. So they will listen the class, everything is good, but they are not listening is one part of it, right? So if you practice only, then you will be confident whenever they give you a data set, or they ask you a problem, or they ask you like, hey, can you tell me how do you do a test and train split in a scalar? Very simple question, right? So that sort of structure, right? So they are not exactly asking you what is the syntax, what is this, that, but once you keep doing that multiple times, then you'll be like, okay, this is the package I import, a scalar, and this is how I do it, and this is what I get, right? So you don't have to actually write code all the time. You can actually explain small things. But if you make mistake with that particular question, then I can know that, okay, this guy has maybe theoretical knowledge, but he has no practical knowledge. So he has not been practicing, right? So that sort of structure. So generally it's easy actually in interviews to figure out how much you have practice or not. Okay, so with that, we'll start with recommendation systems. So any thoughts before I start? Like, what is recommendation system? Are there any products that we are using right now? And any guesses how actually this works, or anything that you already know? No guesses? This is a very simple one, no?
What Amazon and Flipkart are using our recent search.
No, it's not actually recent search. It's actually what you've already bought, and also recent search. Yeah, all of them actually. They do a lot of complex recommendations. Yes, every page they have different type of recommendation. Only Amazon and Flipkart. What about others? There are no websites.
Even if like we search some product on Google or something on any site, so if we will log into our any news item, also you will see like there is some recommendation like
Correct.
you have searched for this item.
Correct. Jinesh is saying YouTube and Netflix. Okay, so that's a good example. So even if you go to news websites, on the bottom you can see that, okay, once you read one news, they're ready to show you, yeah, Kana, 3, 4, 5 news articles already, right? So we are bombarded already with your recommendation systems, and this is the kind of important problem. To
They'll store cookies, something, I don't know.
cookies.
No, we used to get like something on top. This website will read your, have access to your cookies, something.
No, that is not recommendation. No. So that is just storing your password and email ID and password. Cookies only store your email ID and password. Right. So recommendation is where you interact with that particular web page, and then it keeps changing and gives you better. This is what you should do. So there are a lot of examples of recommendations. Netflix, Gaana, all your OTT providers, Hotstar, what else, like Amazon Prime, YouTube, music streaming. The best one I have seen, best recommendation so far in my recently I'm using is Spotify actually. Right, so the recommendation is like the on top. TikTok, right? So TikTok is one. All these short video apps, right? So no matter how much scale, how many users you have, even if India bans TikTok, there is no way that any app in India or in other parts of the world or other apps can match the recommendation system of TikTok. Okay, so that is why this is so popular among everywhere in the world, TikTok. Even actually crossing Facebook, Instagram, there is recommendation in Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So overall, it's there everywhere actually. So if you think about it, it's there everywhere. Even if you buy from any simple WordPress website also, they will suggest you, hey, would you like to buy this item, right? So everywhere. Most of the times I think it's in Shop, Myntra, Snapdeal. So all the e-commerce websites have to do recommendation. All the movie streaming websites have to do recommendation. Your music streaming again have to do a good job. Your short video, again, you have to do a good job in recommendation. Even in your search results nowadays, they are also doing recommendation, right? So they're just trying to see what type of search you're doing. Google is also basically a sort of a recommendation system, a little bit different, but sort of a recommendation system, right? So everywhere these types of recommendation systems are already present and we are already using actually, right? So let's say if you bought a chair, right? So what is the next suggestion you'll get? Easily table, right? So we'll try to see how this particular problem actually is being solved using machine learning or deep learning. Right, so we'll first understand like what is the crux of this, and then we will see like what type of algorithms can come into place. Okay. So a recommender system is a simple algorithm whose aim is to provide the most relevant information to a user by discovering patterns in a dataset. Okay. The algorithm rates the items and shows the user the items that they would rate highly. An example of a recommendation in action is when you visit Amazon and you notice that some items are being recommended to you, or when Netflix recommends certain movies to you, right? So these are the examples of the recommendation systems. Okay. So this is an example, okay, how recommendation systems work. So let's say a person on the left has watched A and B. Person on the right also has watched A, B, but person on the right also has started watching C. Now, what can you do? You can basically start recommending, hey, these two persons have watched A and B together, and person on the right is watching C. Let me go ahead and then recommend this to person A. Right? So this is a very simple way of thinking how you can start recommending the movies or products or songs. Right? So I hope this is clear, right? So this is a very simple way. So one of this way is called collaborative filtering. So we'll come there. So simple explanation: two users buy the same items A and B from an e-commerce store. When this happens, the similarity index of these two users is computed. Depending on the score the system can recommend, item C to the other user because it detects that these two users are similar in terms of the items they purchase, right? So if you see here, these two users are not the exact same person, or they're not related in any way. They could be random people. What we are trying to see is how much are they similar based on the items they're actually purchasing, right? So based on their purchase pattern, or you can say something like that, right? So let's say I am someone sitting here and I bought, let's say, book number 1 on deep learning and book number 2 on deep learning. There is some other person sitting in Mumbai, and not Mumbai, let's take Bangalore only, and who also bought book number 1, 2, but also bought book number 3, right? So we are not related in any way. We don't know any of us we don't know each other. But Amazon, since it has all the information about all the users in Bangalore, it will start looking at, okay, Money has bought these 2 books. Let me start looking where and which user, if at all is present, have also bought these same books again. Looks like this user also bought 3rd book. Let me go ahead and then recommend this to buy Money. What essentially is happening here is we are trying to map what are the users and what type of similarities present based on the items they actually bought. Okay, so can you think of any other different way in this approach, or in these lines, any other way you can do this? So this is one approach. Can you guys think of any other approach? I hope this is clear, like what I'm trying to explain here. So basically you bought 2 AB, and person on the right also bought ABC. So C is recommended to the person on the left. Can you guys think, is there any other way you can achieve this? Or there are so many recommendations actually we see. So already.
Friends.
Yeah. So that is one way where Facebook sort of actually recommends that, let's say in Facebook, I'm not buying anything, right? So how do I recommend, right? So there you can say that, okay, this friend is friend of friend. Maybe they might know each other. So they will say, you might actually know her or know him, right? So that's what they are trying to say. Even in LinkedIn, they will say, hey, these are the friends and these are your people you work with in your office. These are their mutual, these are the people that are belonging to your same office or same company, right? So that way, okay, yeah, I've seen this guy, maybe I can add him in LinkedIn, right? Instead of me showing some guy in, let's say, Delhi who has no relationship with your company nor you, this is a better recommendation, right? So there are a lot of examples, good examples, where companies are using a recommendation system and people are finding it relevant, right? So let's say you are one of the relevant information or is in your Google search. What happens is sometimes you are not really sure what you want to search, but you search something very incomplete, but still Google understands in a way, because people would have searched, many people would have searched complete string, but your search actually matches with the one the others have searched. So it thinks that this guy might be searching for that, even though I have not given my complete answer question. Let's say I'm searching for, I'm building a model in TensorFlow. I'm running into this error with images, and the problem that I'm running is ImageNet, right? So these are the 3 words that I'm searching. But Google knows that people who have already run into this issue. So those are the different types of URLs this Google will show, so that I can fix my issue in TensorFlow. All right, so everywhere we are actually using recommendation systems. Okay, so let's see what are the types of recommendation systems. So the most common types of recommendation systems are content-based and collaborative filtering recommender systems. In collaborative filtering, the behavior of a group of users is used to make a recommendation to other user. Recommendation is based on preference of other users. A simple example would be recommending a movie to a user based on the fact that their friend liked the movie. So this is basically your example of your collaborative filtering. Okay, so there is other way where generally we say, hey, you know what, we ask our friends that, okay, I'm bored, let me watch a movie, can you guys suggest, right? So this is basically done by your Netflix and Amazon Prime and all. let's say if I watch and we are friends in, let's say, Facebook or somewhere, we connect, and then it will say that, okay, Money has watched, Money is being watching this series in Amazon Prime, you might like it, right? So this is how your collaborative filtering works, right? Now, what are the different types of collaborative filtering? There are two types. So one is basically called user-based collaborative filtering. So in this model, products are recommended to a user based on the fact that products have been liked by users similar to other users. For example, if Derek and Dennis like the same movie and a new movie comes out that Derek likes, then we recommend the movie to Dennis because Derek and Dennis seem to like the same movies. Okay, so this is based on your user-based collaborative filtering. Okay, now what is item-based collaborative filtering? So these systems identify similar items. Okay, similar items as in once you buy iPhone, let's say, then in Amazon also they will suggest iPhone 11, iPhone 12, iPhone X. These are similar items actually they are suggesting you. It has nothing to do with any person has bought 4 iPhones. It doesn't make sense, right? So what they're actually suggesting you or recommending you is, let's say if you're searching for a fan, so in the bottom they will show you compare this with these other 4 fans, right? So they are basically trying to understand what is the product and or item and what are the other items that are similar to this. Okay, example, if users A, B and C gave a 5-star rating to books X and Y, then when a user D buys book Y, they also get recommended to purchase book X because the system identifies both X and Y as similar based on the ratings given by the users A, B, C, right? So here items, which are basically your books X and Y, are getting the similar rating. So that is the reason whenever a new person D wants to buy, they will basically suggest the book Y. Okay, once he purchases X, right? So this is your item-based collaborative filtering. Okay, now let's come to content-based recommendations. Content-based systems use metadata such as genre, producer, actor, musician to recommend items, say movies or music. Such a recommendation would be, for instance, recommending Infinity War that featured Vin Diesel because someone watched and liked the Fate of the Furious movie, right? So let's say you like Arjit Singh, YouTube will start recommending one more new song of Arjit Singh, right? So let's say there is some new song in T-series that you like. T-series, YouTube will start recommending next new song of your T-series, right? So Tamil, Telugu, whatever type of genre you like. So let's say if you listen to Telugu or Hindi songs, YouTube will start recommending some more Hindi song, which are new latest, right? So similarly, you can get music recommendations from certain artists because you like their music actually. So this is based on your content based. So here the metadata here is, so metadata means not the actual data. The actual data is a song. That metadata for a song is basically who wrote it, what is the music, who is the composer, who is the director, what type of format is it present, is it MP3, all those, right? So that is your metadata, which Gaana and your Spotify, your YouTube Music, YouTube, all of these are using to recommend based on the genre. For example, if I subscribe to maybe A.R. Rahman, so once he releases a new song, I'll get the new song in the YouTube, right? So that is based on your content-based recommendation, right? So these are the different types of recommendation introduction that is present. So any questions at this point of time? No questions?
Money is it related to real or is it in a separate one?
Your voice is breaking, I think.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, better.
Yeah, and like, is it like related to YAML real or is it like separate thing?
Yeah, so what you see here, right? Everywhere you see some approach. Now the way you compute user A and user B are similar, you can use deep learning there, right? You can also use deep learning, machine learning, where So you use deep learning and machine learning algorithms on some parts of your recommendation system, right? So your overall scheme of, for example, how do you explain? The way this recommendation systems work is, overall the scheme is just to recommend items, right? Now let's say how Amazon or Myntra uses. So they use recommendation systems for, once I buy a t-shirt, okay? Now let's say that t-shirt color is red and it is basically a t-shirt. Now they use deep learning to figure out what is present in the image and try to classify them. Is that a t-shirt? Is it a shirt? Is it a pant, right? So they're using that particular information, the feature information, and sort of using it for recommendations, right? So let's say if I am person money and then there is metadata male, let's say whatever height, these are the things that he has bought earlier, etc, 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 right? So where can you use ML? So let's say if they want to figure out, let's say my sentiments, right? So let's say, yeah, I like this product, this particular phone is working well, and I give that rating as your rating as my product rating on Amazon. Now again, they will use that and they will try to see this, is there a similar sentence like that? So recommendation systems overall is a bigger thing. In between or inside it, there is a feature that you will build for using for recommending other products. Now the feature itself will have the actual values coming from different ML and deep learning algorithms. I hope that makes sense.
Yes,
Right?
Manish, yes.
So let's say if you take some of the complex ones, so I've seen some of the work that is done by Myntra. Now, what Myntra does is there's a company called, there's a brand within Myntra called, what is that brand? I forgot. So that is a brand. I actually got surprised. I bought it and I saw that this is not designed by any of the human. That is actually designed by Myntra itself as its own company. So they have created one ML, basically a DL algorithm, deep learning algorithm, using GANs, which will actually go through all the images of shirts in Myntra and come up with a design on its own and start recommending this to me. Right? So this is a very personal, like a very personal recommendation. That shirt is not designed, and that shirt is not like US Polo where same color is designed 100,000 copies and is spread across Bangalore, India, all over the world. This is basically a design that is built or basically created by the Myntra's deep learning algorithm. And also this is again recommended only to me, right? So sort of very personal design, you can say. I forgot the company's name. It's really cool actually. So Myntra. Okay, if I find it, I'll share it with you guys. So anyhow, so this I'll share it with you guys. Give it a read actually. I just wanted to look at the what is the brand name? I think you guys also would have bought it actually. Yeah, I think Moda Rapido, right? So this is not a company separate like US Polo or whatever, like Adidas or Nike. Actually, that's a homegrown, that's a own brand of Myntra, and that the who is designing those cloths is basically a deep learning algorithm, actually, not humans. Okay. Yeah, so that is basically you're getting the ad in this one because there are a lot of things actually going on. Like, but the sad fact is companies sell data, right? So that's why you're getting that ad once you search in Google and it goes to Facebook. Right, so there's a bigger problem going on. I don't know if you follow that. The Congress in US is planning to break these big companies because of these such issues. Now, yesterday I was actually, now think about it, like once you search in YouTube or once you search in your browser, right? Your search string also is still remaining in your browser. Once you open Facebook, Facebook might require that, okay, I'm going to read this data, read that data. It might also read what you have already searched so far, right? Even though you searched in Google, your search history or search strings might be present in your um, Google in your browser. So if you do this, let's say new private window, history actually. So that is the reason how Facebook can figure out what is your history or what is that you have already searched. Now there can be many ways. So for example, my company itself is an ad company. I know how much amount of data they collect. So for example, if you open any news site, okay, I'll show you how much data they collect. So let me open this. So you can see the trackers they have. Can you guys see here? Bottom. Wait, let me show you. Right? So these are all the different trackers. Even on your Zoom, they track. I don't know why. See this 8, 9. You see this? So these are all the companies without you knowing are actually taking a lot of data. Right? So yeah, that's how they get data. There's nothing here, right? So I'm just opening Zoom every day to join meeting, but they have 9 trackers trying to get information from me. Okay, that's how they get all that. Sometimes I see 17, 15. So yeah, companies steal a lot of data. Okay, so let's get back to your this one. What is it called? Your notebook, Jupyter notebook. Okay, so I have a data set. This data set I'll ping so that you guys can also load it. Okay, so this is the CSV for your ratings underscore CSV. Okay, there is one more, which is basically your movies. CSV. So can you guys just load these data sets and let me know what you see here? What type of information do you have and what do you understand?
Mani, when you open Firefox, then it is open tracker.
That's a plugin called Ghostery, not Firefox.
Which one? Ghostery.
Yeah.
Okay. Ghostery. Okay. So we need to install first.
No, that has nothing to do with this, but yeah, I want to see sometimes what they're stealing from me.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with machine learning or deep learning. That is me basically trying to see what is going on. If you don't want to share any information, you can use this private window. So none of your search history, anything goes to your companies cannot take from there. So I've shared the CSV files. So can you guys load these into 2 different data frames? And then I'll explain you what is present there. And can you guys also look like what is present there? What do you guys understand? Yeah. Is it done? Okay. So I'll quickly explain the flow, guys. There's not machine learning or deep learning here, but a very simple approach. Basically, I'm using, I'll explain actually, I forgot what I'm using here. Okay. So you guys can run this. For example, you can basically import. So this is familiar to you. And then you basically load it in your pandas data frame. Which is basically one of the data is called ratings. Okay. If you see the header information, you have user ID, the ID of the user, the movie of the user, the ID of the movie that he has watched, what rating has he given, and what timestamp has he given that particular rating. Right now, can you guys run these questions? Find the answers for this. Copy cells. Maximum. Can you guys find the answers to these 3 questions? So the first question is how many different users are there? The second question is how many different movies are there? And the third question is how many different ratings are there actually? Yeah, you can send to me in the private chat the answers. What about others? Mm-hmm.
Can you scroll up?
Why? Why do you want me to scroll up?
I have missed out that link.
URL is in the chat, no? URL I shared in the chat. So if you follow here again, you'll always miss out. So that's what I'm saying. You need to practice. You're asking me to scroll up so that you can. And don't type this URL. I've already shared this in the chat. If you type it, it will take another 10 minutes.
Can you ping again? Actually, I have missed it.
Okay. So far I'm asking you to load these data sets in 2 different data frames. And then once you have loaded, there are a couple of questions that I've shared in the chat. Try to answer those questions, right? So try to write code for how you can answer that. Okay. If you're done with that, can you guys check how many NA values are there? Whoever has done. Okay. So no NA values. Okay. So what do you see from the, so or overall, so I've given these 2 data sets, right? So there are titles, there is this. So what can we do potentially with this in context of recommendation system? So what do you guys understand? So let me ask you this now. So can we do something about this? So we have 2 data sets. One is ratings. One is movies, right? So if you do head on both of those data frames, you get some basic information like how does it look like, what is a movie, what is the title, what type of genre is it, right? So what can you learn or what can you do with the both of these data frames? Can we do something useful or along the lines of recommendation system? Can we do something? Any ideas that you guys have?
Yes, both are I mean, both can be related.
And then
Okay, so based on the movie ID, there are various categories of genres.
okay,
So supposingly if they're children, so if they watch this Toy Story, so it has a genre, one of the genre as children. So the similar genre similar movies of the same genre, for example, Jumanji, can be recommended to the same person.
right. So that is one way of you already have a simple recommendation engine already. Okay. So when we recommend to children, we have to make sure that it is not what do you call 18 plus or it is not scary and all, right? So we have to be careful. So you can recommend Jumanji, but there might be another movie. Okay, it might not be children only in the first place. Then I think it's fine. Your plan is fine. Yeah, that seems fine. Okay. So that's a good start. So that's basically trying to figure out what is a movie ID, what is a movie genre, does it belong to? So based on that, if I watch Jumanji, so you can recommend Toy Story. Oh, but there is one difference, right? So let's say there are 10 movies or 15 movies or 100 movies. So which one will you recommend? Even in children itself, if you see the shape of this particular data set, they are huge. Which one will you suggest? So right now, what I understood is you only used movie names data frame, right? So can you also use ratings data frame and use that information also for recommending? Is the question clear?
Yes.
Right. So think along the lines. For example, there are children genre. There are 100 movies. Right. So among those 100, you cannot give 100 to the user. Right. You have to give top 5 or top 10 max. So how would you, or which one would you select?
On the basis of the rating?
On the basis of the rating. Okay. Let's say movie number 1 is Chota Bheem, let's say. So the basis of the ratings, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, the topmost rated movie will be recommended.
Okay, so topmost rated movies. So let's say if I open, I'm going to take a similar example, but on the Swiggy, and the restaurant rating is 4.8, and there is one more restaurant. A restaurant name is, let's say, Ghar Ka Khana and something, 4.8. There is one more restaurant called, let's say, MTR, and then the rating is 4.5. So which one would I select here?
Whichever you prefer, like which is in your preference.
No,
South Indian or North Indian.
let's say I have to select only one. Now, based on the rating, which one will I select? Generally, we select top one, right? So let's say you're buying
How about lesser price?
lesser price. Okay, that is tough problem actually. But I'm just selecting restaurants actually. So let's say I have some 200, 300 rupees for breakfast, let's say. So I'm assuming all of the restaurants can handle it unless they are like some luxury or something. So my point being, let's say there are 3 restaurants. The first one is rating is 4.9. Let's say restaurant 1. And the second one is rating 4.8. And the third one is rating is 4.5. So the restaurant 1 is, let's say, whatever, like small restaurant, Money's restaurant, something. The restaurant 2 is, let's say, Ghar Ka Khana, and the restaurant 3 is MTR. Are we missing something on these ratings side? Should I just go with the restaurant 1, Money restaurant? Just because the rating is high, should I also need to check something, or I can just directly?
Cuisine.
Sorry?
Cuisine. What kind of cuisine they are offering?
No, all that I'm fine. So cuisine, I'm fine.
Proximity.
Proximity also, I'm fine. I have a lot of money, a lot of time.
How many people rated vegetarian or non-vegetarian?
All of that is fine. I can eat anything.
The number of users who have rated.
Yeah, that is important. So just because you have 4.8 doesn't mean it is 4.8. MTR has been from 1956, I think, or more than that in India, Bangalore. So that restaurant has been collecting reviews and ratings from almost 40, 50, 60 years almost now, 70 years now, 74 years or something. Right? So that restaurant of 4.5 or the rating actually has a lot of value. Just because I have a restaurant, I've asked my friends to rate them as 555 doesn't make it as a 5-star restaurant, right? So we also have to look at, whenever you look at rating value, you should also look at how many number of ratings are already done. So that is an important metric. Okay.
Many movie data. When I check for a movie, I'm getting like 3 fields, like movie ID, title, genres. For you, it's like merge both, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm read CSV, right? So what separator are you using? What have been merged?
Yeah, no, I'm using same.
This is how it looks like.
Because no movie data, it's showing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, around 6 fields when we're checking for null value.
Null values.
Yeah, when you're checking for null values, it's showing total, I think, 6 or 7 field for you. For me, it's only 3. Yeah, 6 values is there.
This is movie data actually. This is movie names. This is rating data. Movie data is this. I think I wrote above and below, something like that. That's why. This is movie names actually.
Yeah, movie data you merged, I think. You merged two.
I must.
Okay.
The name is different. Movie names and movie data.
Okay. You have merged both the CBS files.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so whenever you look at rating, okay, don't just look at rating. Also look at the number of ratings with it. If the number of ratings are low, doesn't make it a good restaurant. It is the owner and his friends are actually rating. The number of ratings totally you have is important, right? So that is a very important criteria. Okay. So once we got these two, once we got the idea behind these two, okay, so I'll show you how we can merge. So are you guys familiar with how to merge data frames? Oh, yes.
Yes, Manu.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, using join, append.
Append, not append.
Merge.
So you can use merge, pd.merge, and you can use this. Anyhow, internally it will do join only. So this is basically, I'm trying to merge two data frames, which is ratings data and movie names on the movie ID. Okay, so can you guys run this? And let me know if you're getting a similar 6 columns. Is it working, not working?
Yes, okay.
Okay, good. So we use top rating movies. Okay. Now this is where we will do some group by. Are you familiar with group by?
Yeah.
Only one. Did you guys discuss this in your Python class?
Yes, Manu.
Okay, good. Then it will be easy for me. So movie data dot group by on the title. Okay, so basically I'm grouping the titles. As you can see here, right? So I have a lot of titles. So once I joined, I'm basically working on this movie data frame actually. Okay, so I'm working on this. So basically I'm grouping them by title. So title means the movie name. And what I'm looking for is basically a rating of this. So the rating of these grouped objects. So basically once you group Toy Story, what are all the ratings you have? So these are all the ratings you have for Toy Story. What I'm doing is once you find that particular rating, I'm finding the mean of these values. So let's say you will have, let's say Toy Story, Toy Story, Toy Story, Toy Story, let's say Avengers, 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 and Avengers. And let's say there is some movie which is, what is that movie? Let's say Dark or something like that. Dark. Right? So let's say people give ratings, right? So let's say they give 4, they give 4, 2, 4, let's say 3. Again, these people have different users have given different ratings. So 1, 5, 5, 4, dark. Some people have given 3, some guy has given 4. Right? So when you group them, basically you're grouping like this. So this is one group based on the title. This is one group based on the title. Okay, so this is one group based on the title. What you're doing is basically finding the mean of these. So finding the mean of this and giving the mean, let's say mean is 3.5, for example. So the mean of this is basically 4. And the mean of this is basically 3.5. Right? So this particular piece of code here is basically doing that. right? So we are basically grouping all the titles and finding the average rating of those titles. Is this step clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I want to sort, right? So here you can say 5 is on the line number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 only, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So Salem's Lot 2004 movie has got a rating of 5 star, 5 out of 5. But what I want to see is I want to see all the top movies that are already present, right? So what I have to do is same code, except that I have to do dot sort values, ascending equal to false, and then head. So these are all the movies that users have given rating 5 star, right? So still we don't know how many ratings we got, but we'll come to that. But as you can see, the movie Carlson Returns, Winter in Prostokvashino, all of these movies, My Love, Sorority House, Massacre 2, 1990, all of these movies have got a rating of 5 star, right? At the top 10. Now, what can you do? So, can you use this as just for recommending? And do companies are already using this? Do you guys see this example? So, how many people use Netflix here? I'm assuming all after lockdown.
Yeah.
Have you seen this in Netflix somewhere? No, yes?
No.
No? So I hope. My internet is so slow today. There is a category, right? So I have to log in there, but there is a category where you can see top 10 movies people are watching right now. Have you not seen that?
Maybe, but haven't paid attention much.
So what they are doing is only this code, by the way, guys. So they are just taking the ratings from, not ratings, how many people have watched this particular movies. So right on the top of your Netflix, once you log in, so they will say the top number 1 movie today, top number 2 movie. I think the top number 1 movie right now is Gunjan Saxena, right? So if you guys open it, or maybe 1, 2, it might change based on us, you and me. But yeah, so that is the top movie right now. But who basically the people in India are actually watching right now. So what it says is the top movies watched in India, right? So they are not doing nothing but this. They're just trying to group by based on the country ID for all the users in India. What are they watching? And basically pick the top 10 values and then keep it on the top of their UI, right? So this is a recommendation actually, right? So this is a recommendation in a small form. Right, so do you guys see how even though it's not like ML or deep learning or whatever complex things, but still the basic form of recommendation can be done just by trying to collect the data, stitch two data frames, try to use group by queries, and then you can basically figure that out. Okay, so let me show you actually Spotify. Spotify is also not working. Yeah, but here you will see actually like the top. So these are the different types of shortcuts made for you, right? Your daily mix. And these are the ones that people are watching a lot across the world or maybe across in India, right? So these are the top songs of my 2019, right? So these are the different categories. These are the different artists, and like these are the content based recommendations. So let's say I like this particular artist, they're recommending more from that. This is the different type of genres that they are recommending me, right? So all of this is simple only. They are not doing a lot of deep learning and all, but once you play the song, once you click next, that's when they use deep learning and all these complex strategies to give you a really good recommendation. So in Spotify, sometimes it's so good that the song you will never ever find in your life, they would recommend. So what they recommend is based on the type of song. Is it melody? Is it sung by a female? Is there a bits of increase in the bass in between? All those things they use, and use different deep learning techniques to recommend the next song among all those millions of songs that are present, right? So viewers change from time to time. Will data get updated on timely basis? Yes. So this is basically your weekly top 10 actually. So last week, I think it was that Sushant Singh's movie, right? So what was it? So that was there in the top. I think it was not there in Netflix, but it was there in Prime, I think.
Dil Bichara.
Yeah, so that was the movie that was trending for 1 week. Now, today, I think this week in Netflix, Gunjan Saxena is in the top 10, right? So similarly, all these recommendations are already going on. Now, these are sort of crude recommendations, right? So you might not like anything in the top 10 at all, right? So because the way they are recommending is these are brand new movies and they are not sure, they don't have so much data, right? So this is called cold start problem. So they will sort of go ahead and then look at all the people who are watching and just blindly recommend to everyone. Now, it is just top 10 in India doesn't mean you might like all of those, right? So any of those actually. They also track whether you played the song fully or just skipped. Yeah. Spotify is on another level. Spotify and TikTok are the best. No company has matched them in the both respective. So TikTok in video and Spotify in audio. Okay, coming back to our problem here. So till here, I think it is clear, right? So basically, I have got the titles, group them on ratings, sort them based on the descending order, and then find the these ratings. Now, how can I find the count, right? So basically what I'm doing here is I'm basically grouping by title again based on the ratings. Here, instead of finding the mean, I'm actually finding the count of them. How many people have rated the movie, and I'm basically sorting them in the descending order. Now, from in this particular data set, looks like Forrest Gump is being rated by 329 people. Shawshank Redemption is rated by 317 people, and 307 people have rated Pulp Fiction, right? Now, I don't know if you guys know this or not. These are top 15 or 20 or 50 of your IMDb list. Shawshank Redemption is number 1. I think so still. So based on your number of ratings that the movie has received, going back to the Swiggy example that I've given, MTR will again come on top, and my restaurant which I have just only 4 or 5 ratings, will not even be present in the recommendation to the user. Okay, so what we have to do is basically club these two, the average rating and the total number of ratings that the users have given here. Okay, so is there any question? Yes. Okay, so basically I'm going through this workflow where I got ratings mean count. So this is basically I'm creating a new pandas data frame using movie data, group by title, and the rating and mean. Rating mean count is basically, and the one more column I'm creating is ratings count. Basically for each movie, I'm grouping them based on the title, which is the movie name, and I'm taking the rating and I'm counting how many ratings does this movie even have in the first place. Now I've created a new data frame called ratings mean count. And when I do head, this is how this particular ratings mean count looks like. Okay, as you can see, the movie, which is basically Hellboy, The Seeds of Creation, has got a rating of 4, but only one person has rated that as 4. So this will have very, very less power or very less importance whenever you're recommending to a user, because only one person has given a rating 4.0. This not a lot of people might like it, so that is the reason you will not recommend it. Okay. Okay, so let's try to see how it looks for one particular. So how the ratings basically look like, right? So so this is the rating count, right? So what I'm trying to do here is basically create a histogram where my bins are ranging from 0 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 150, and I'm trying to see how many people have rated in these bins. So what it means is the total number of movies that has got 0 to 10 total number of ratings is 7,000, right? The movies that have more than 10 to 20 ratings, the movies that have more than 10 to 20 ratings is basically almost 1,000 movies. Likewise, the movies that have more than, so what they're trying to say is there are very few movies, right? So which have a lot of ratings, right? So these are the ones, for example, this side. Right? So these movies have they have a lot of ratings actually, like more than 50 or 100. But majority of the movies have very minimal rating, like only less than 10 people have rated, right? So as you can see here in the Hellboy, and for example, if you see this particular head, all of these movies only have less than 10 ratings, right? So for example, the movie 71, which is premiered in 2014, has only 1 rating. The movie Round Midnight has only 2 ratings. So likewise, there are almost 7,000 movies where there is only less than 10 number of ratings that particular movie has, right? So this makes sense because very few movies have a lot of rating, which means a lot of movies people don't watch like everything. People only watch the famous ones, right? So that is what this thing is, right? If you take the number of ratings actually, right? So the ratings that people have given, as you can see, this looks more like a normal distribution. So here people have given very few movies have been given rating 1, and very few movies have been given rating 4.5 and 5. But majority of the movies in between have been given rating which is 2, 2.5, 3, and 3.5 and 4. Right? So this you can see here with the help of basically mean count. How is the count basically based on each rating type. So how many movies got 1 rating? Very few of them. How many movies got 2 rating? Little bit more than that. But majority of the movies got the rating which is between 2, 3 and 4. But very few movies got the rating which is 5. So that is normal behavior, human behavior. So no matter what type of movies we have, we generally have this particular structure of your movie ratings given. Okay, so you can actually find something called a joint plot, which is basically combining 2 normal distributions, right? So this is your one skewed normal distribution on the right hand side here. So this is skewed. So this is basically, so this is your basically 0, 1 rating, 2 rating till your 5, and this is basically your, what was this? So this was the total number of counts. How many people got how much? What is the, how many people got this? How many movies got all of this? Right. So as you can see, this is your joint plot between your normal distribution 1 and another normal distribution. I wouldn't say normal, but yeah. So this distribution. See, as you can see, this is explaining this particular thing. So what we are doing is collectively combining this and the above plot and this particular above plot together, and we are trying to create a joint plot and try to interpret how this particular data looks like. This is just your EDA that you're doing, right? So then we will come to your actual steps, right? Now, how many people know pivot here? Do you guys know what pivot means?
Yes, it's kind of Excel.
Yeah, whoever has used Excel will be familiar. What about others? Okay, so pivot is sort of, I would say, a little bit similar to transpose, but the only difference is, so pivot is present here actually. So this is called pivot. Have you guys played this? This is called seesaw, right? So this is called pivot. So where kids play right up and down. So this is your physical pivot in case of seesaw. So similarly, if this guy comes down and this guy goes up, and they keep playing like that, right? Kids keep playing this. This is your pivot. Now, similarly like that, you can actually pivot your data. Now there are some catch that you have to understand here. Now, what is my movie data here? Movie data has user ID, movie data has movie ID, movie data has rating, timestamp, title, and genre. Now, listen carefully here, so it might be a little bit confusing. So what I'm pivoting here is I'm pivoting based on user ID. Okay. What are the columns that I'm pivoting on? The columns that I'm pivoting on title, and what are the values that I want are basically rating. Okay. So I'm going to explain again. I'm taking movie data, which has user ID, movie ID, rating, timestamp, title, and genre. I am pivoting based on the index, which is user ID. So user ID is the first column. And I am pivoting to column name, which is basically title. So title is, where is title? Yeah, title is here. And I am taking the values, which are basically your rating. Okay. The way this works is, I'm going to explain why there is NaN first. So on the top, so what are your columns? Columns is basically title. So what are all the different titles? So there are so many movies. So all these movies will come on your column names. So what is the movie that came, which is 71, then there is Hellboy, then there is Around Midnight, Salem's Lot, till all these movies are on the column now. So before they were here. Now this is my columns. So that is my columns part. What is my index? Index is basically user ID. So user ID is basically, user ID is 1, user ID is 5, user ID is 7, user ID is 15. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is my index. So this part is my index and this part is my columns. Now what is the values that should come? The values that you should come is basically rating. Now, why do you see NaN? NaN is there because the user 1 has not watched the movie 7124. Why is there a NaN here? The user 1 has not watched the movie Hellboy. And likewise, you will see that there are NaNs everywhere. Now, Mani, where is the actual data? Yes, data is there. Don't worry. So I'll show you here on 4. So the user 1 has watched the movie Three Amigos and has rated 4.2. It makes sense, right? So people don't watch all the movies that are present in the world, right? So what we have to do is we have to basically give the rating wherever they already watched. Everywhere else to all the other movies, you're going to give rating as NaN. So how many people understood this? And do you guys have any questions? Pivot is kind of important, guys. Even if you're using Excel or what do you call this one? Data science. I mean, like pandas. Yes.
Only one question.
Mm-hmm.
So in pivot, we can maximum take only 3 columns.
So how would you like to pivot? Let's say 3 columns. No. Again, I'm explaining these are not 3 columns. I'm pivoting.
Yeah.
I'm pivoting in a way that I have index, I have columns and the values. There are 3 parts to a table. One is header, one is index, and the actual values. So basically,
yeah, that I got it. So with this pivot kind of representation, so we can take maximum 3 columns from the original data set and display like this.
Yeah, so if you pivot more, it will be it will come out as in it will become a 3-dimensional kind of a data frame. So for example, you can think of this is generally you don't do that, but my understanding is this is how it will look. So you have your index here, index I. Again, you have another same index, not another, same index I. You have your column names here, columns, same columns here. But the values you have are basically rating, comma, count, for example. Something like that. So the rating might be here and the count might be here. right? So what is fixed is your columns and index. I believe you can play around with the what comes here actually. So for example, the person has, I'm just thinking actually, why would you want to have more than 2? Can you give an example? What type of scenario you want to give here?
No, Mani, I was just asking like that. So, because here we took 3 columns, 3 titles, right? So that's why I was just thinking, is it restricted only for 3, or if we take more, then the look will change? That's it.
Yeah, so I'm also thinking, so let's say if you want to make it more, what else would you give here? No, I hope the question is clear. So what I'm saying is, if you want to change this to something else, and I'm also thinking at the same time, I think we will only have this only, right? So you will have one index, you will have one columns, and what comes here is either rating or the rating count.
Yeah, this one I got it. Yeah, I understood also. So I was just thinking, like, in your experience, where you ever had a chance to like draw more than these number of columns?
Recommendations honestly have very less experience. I generally didn't work in this area, but my understanding is so actually let me think about it. Even I am also a little bit curious if you can.
I think so. We can initialize it to a variable and then we can call those particular columns, right?
Yeah. So
Or we can drop the remaining column, something like that we can do.
Here, how does it work? That's the question I'm asking.
Can't we? Okay.
No,
That's what initialize to a variable. Can't we use specific column names? Something like. No, the next line.
1 second. I didn't run this up. Give me 2 minutes. So what you're saying now? So what I have to change here? We can change and see actually here. Let's see. But so when you do something like both A and B, you have to basically aggregate them and then use them. You guys see this? So what they're saying is you have to also give an aggregate function once you're giving any groups, right? So that makes sense, right? So let's say if you're giving 2 values that you want here, right? So either you want rating value and also let's say the count of it. So maybe you would want to say rating multiplied by the count so that I get the effective value here, right? So overall this will be like this only. But what will happen is you can actually give multiple things. For example, here rating. I think you might give like this or something like this. So we can explore this again. Rating you can give comma count. But what you have to understand is it will only have one value. So I think you have to give some function like this, and then you have to say rating times count, something like that. So what you will get here is basically if the person user ID 1 has given rating 4 and he has given once, something like that, right? So it will be only 4 times 1. So let's say if he has given 4 rating 2 times, something like that, right? But I'm just thinking generally this will give you enough information, and this should be enough. I'll also explore, actually, I myself, I'm curious to see what happens if I give more, and is it going to be helpful? Is there something that no. Okay. So I'll explore that, actually. I'll explore that and see if there's something that we can do.
Okay, Mani, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, so this we got, but what is the use of this? Can anyone guess or think?
It will give like the user ID, like the viewers who has given the ratings for which movie.
No, that is fine, but our problem is to recommend, no? So how is that going to help here?
So the movie which has more views, ratings, we can recommend that. If it is none, then we can ignore.
That is already done here, no? That is already done. So here I can already recommend that for everyone. I can recommend Forrest Gump, Shawshank Redemption, Pulp Fiction, Silence of the Lambs, and Matrix. Just by using this group by, I can recommend. But what is the use of this? So this particular big table. The difference here is I will recommend these top, where is the top 5 or top 5 movies to everyone. It's a good recommendation, I would say, but people want more personalized recommendations, right? So this is on an aggregate level, what all the users in Netflix are watching. You might not like Forrest Gump, you might not like Shawshank Redemption, you might like a Telugu movie, Hindi movie, Tamil movie, Kannada movie, right? Where does those recommendations come in is where we will start using this user features matrix. So this matrix is called users. These are the users on the x-axis, the index, and features, which are basically your movies on the top, and this is basically your users features matrix, right? So this particular matrix, or matrix is basically your pandas data frame, will give you an idea, is user 1 similar to user 5, right? How can you find that? They will have a vector like this. So let's say if they both of them have watched, let's say 2 Telugu movies like this, for all the English movies they will have NAN, let's say NAN or 0, I'll keep for now. And then this is a Telugu movie, let's say Telugu movie 1 T1, and Telugu movie number 2 T2, and Telugu movie number T3. Again, there are so many Telugu movies T4, T5 like that. So everywhere. So basically this guy has given rating 4. This guy has given rating 3. Again, all these are basically 0, 0, right? So this is your user number 1. Now, where is user number 2? Again, he only watches Telugu movies. Now, if I suggest the top 5 English movies to this guy and this guy, they will not even watch because they are not interested actually. For example, my mom doesn't watch English movies, right? So there's no, that recommendation is useless to her. So again, I'm going to say 0, 0, 0. All these English movies will be 0 till here. But so this guy has rated 3 here, and this guy has not rated here, again 0, let's say 0 and 0. When you see this user and when you see this user, and these are all the different movies on the top, this is your user feature vector. Now this vector is basically a list of array, and you can find the cosine similarity, right? So you can find the cosine similarity of both of them. Cosine similarity you can find in this particular notebook. They are using correlation, right? So all of these are trying to see how similar are these two vectors, right? So you can see that this guy has actually watched T1 and T2. Maybe he might like T2, so that is the reason you are going to come back and say this user 1 and user 2 are similar across all the other users, U3, U4, U5 and U100. So among all these users who only watch English movies, for example, there will be 0, 0, 0 in T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, right? Because they don't watch Telugu movies. So that is the reason you can say that user 1 is also watching movie Telugu movie 3, 4. Let's say this is 2 and this is 1. Not 1, let's say 4. Right? You can say that, okay, this guy has similarity in this particular part of your vector. And since he also watched T1 and since he also watched T2, this U1, the guy U1 is working from home, is home. So he will watch this movie, let's say T3, and has given rating 2. So let me watch, or sorry, let me recommend this particular movie T3 to this user U2. Okay, first you figured out these U1 and U2 have similar movie preference, and once this U2 has watched or U1 has watched a new movie, you're going to recommend this to U2. For finding out who are similar, first you will basically find the similarity across all the users. You will take U1, keep him as the candidate like this, and based on that, you will compare him with all the other users that are present. Once you figure out, okay, then you will figure out, okay, he is most similar to the user, let's say U2. And then which other movie has you to watch, that particular movie you'll recommend to this particular user. Is the plan clear, guys? No, yes? How many understood? Yes, no?
Yes, Mani, got it.
Okay. So this is the very simple. There is no ML, there is no DL, but it does have a good job actually. It does some decent job actually. So towards the end of the notebook, I'm going to show how. But one thing is there is a cold start problem, guys. So let's say you are a new company and you do not have anyone already watched any movie. So that problem is called cold start. So because everywhere the values will be 0 because users have not watched anything, right? So that is the reason once you are signing up in any recommendation system, they will first say who is your favorite artist, what type of language do you watch movies in, let's say Telugu, Hindi, English. So that is a cold start problem actually. So they have no information about you because you have not watched any movie before. So they cannot recommend actually. All of these values will be 0, 0, 0. So you cannot recommend, and you cannot recommend because nobody has watched anything. And actually you have not watched anything and you cannot be compared with any other user again, right? So that is basically your cold start problem. So what happens there is basically they will directly take some metadata information like, okay, what is your language preference? If you go to Spotify, who are your famous artists? What type of music do you like? Which country are you in? And what else? Like these kinds of metadata that to solve your cold start problem. Okay, so let's try to see if I can recommend a movie which is similar to Forrest Gump. So let's say I'll take the movie called Forrest Gump from the user movie ratings. So these are all the different ratings and this is the shape of it. So I'm going to find the correlation with Forrest Gump ratings with all the ratings present in user movie ratings. So I found that, and then using correlation, I'm going to basically rate them like this, and I'm going to sort them based on the top 10. And these are the movies I'm going to basically, actually I have to find the number of ratings also. So what I'm doing is I'm basically finding the movies who have total number of ratings at least 50 and are present in the correlation with Forrest Gump, and I'm descending, I'm basically sorting them in the descending order. Now if I watch Forrest Gump, then this particular recommendation engine that I've coded here will recommend me the movie called Mr. Holland's Opus, which is from 1995, and I don't know what is it called, Pocahontas, also from 1995. As you can see, these are the top 5 Grumpy Old Men. So these are the top 5 or 6 movies that I'm going to recommend if you have already watched Forrest Gump. Now, can you guys see there is some good interesting observation here? Can you guys check that out? Do you see anything interesting in the top 5 here?
Out of 1995.
Yeah. So the good thing is our recommendation is basic, but still powerful enough to figure out. The movie was basically in Forrest Gump is 1994. Around that is where the recommendations are coming. So the first recommendation is also 1995, third, fourth, and again some 15 years back, 1980, right? So the latest movies are not coming. That also makes sense because some people actually like old movies. so they might not like the latest movies so much. But if you are someone who is watching Harry Potter and Prisoner of Azkaban, there are very less chances you might like this 1980 movie, which might be in black and white, right? So this is how I'm doing. Basically, calculate all these user ratings and then find the total number of ratings and find the average rating. So here I'm finding the correlation ratings, total number of ratings, and what I'm doing is, instead of taking all of them, if it has more than 50 ratings, and I'm basically sorting them using correlation in the descending order. So these are the movies that I'm going to recommend. So let's say if you watch Forrest Gump, so these are the movies. So what happens is, as soon as you watch a movie, so this matrix is fixed, okay? This particular input will go to your server, and they will calculate these matrix multiplications quickly within like 1 second or 2 seconds. And they will basically take this and you will get these recommendations within less than 1 second. So this process is happening less than 1 second, right from step number 34 to step number 40 or 41, right? So this is how we have actually built a very basic, simple movie recommendation engine. Okay, so we can actually sell this to Netflix. What do you guys think? Will Netflix buy this?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'll show you the money that comes if you solve these problems. 1 million. So Netflix awarded a $1 million prize to a developer team in 2009 for an algorithm that increased the accuracy of company's recommendation engine by 10%. $1 million, guys. I think 7 crores or how much? More, 7 crores. Yeah, 7.49 crores. Okay, you guys can read about this. This is very interesting, right? So see this. My God. Oh my God. So what happens is, this information that I've opened, this particular website, is going through all these companies, 31 companies.
They have paid, but they have not used it. 1 million they have paid was not used.
They have not used this algorithm.
Netflix never used its 1 million algorithm due to engineering cost.
Due to engineering cost. Achha, okay. Yeah, but these guys got $1 million.
Yeah, they paid money, but they're not using.
So that means they have 100 or 1,000 times more than that, right? No, they did this just to become famous, actually. Even the solutions that you get in Kaggle, you cannot use in your real life because they are very complex. The business cannot wait, actually. Business wants a MVP, actually, which can go to products and customers. They are not looking for the top-notch solution, actually, in Kaggle. Kaggle is a competition, actually. It's not a product building platform, but it's a good platform. Nothing wrong about it, but people give solutions there where, let's say my answer is 79.1. You will come up with something very, very minute that will push you from 79.2. So you will win the competition. There it is not about product building, and it is about winning the competition. Right. So the same problem again with Netflix also. So whoever the team won $1 million, they were just basically trying to win the competition. They were not writing code or building models which can actually be used in production. Okay. So I'll stop here. If you have any questions, let me know. So meanwhile, I'll upload this. Yeah, but that was scary, actually. So the Wired is tracking so much. You guys saw this, right? Oh my God. Don't open this website, guys. So your information is gone to 30 places. So I'm uploading this both of these files. Go through the slides and also go through this particular code. This is a very interesting example. Might not be the best powerful algorithm out there, but the basic one, yes, definitely you can. Small companies don't have so much resources to build so much deep learning and machine learning. All these WordPress companies and all, they are only using this actually. So they use this basic form of your recommendation. Whenever you buy a chair or table, they are recommending 2-3 products, right? They're not using hi-fi machine learning, all of that. Just a simple recommendation in code that I've shown here. What is happening with Google today? If you guys have any questions, just let me know.
Mani, how to measure the performance of this system then?
Yeah, you measure only afterwards actually. That's the problem. So it's like you got a cough, right? So doctor will give you, this is the medicine, and come back after 3 days, right? So it's like that. If it reduces, that's well and good. If it doesn't reduce, then I'm going to give another medicine. So you have to collect the feedback from the users. Now, how do you collect? The way you collect is Netflix, how many movies are watched by users. Let's say Instagram. The average time a user spends in Instagram is 30 minutes. If it is increasing to 31 minutes, then the recommendation engine is working. If it becomes, let's say 25, something is going wrong. So they might have to revert back, or so they say they have to collect this from the user actually. So these are the different types of metrics that user. It's called user retention ratio, or user. There's a word for it. So that's what your product teams and big companies actually look for.
Okay, so they are like basically collecting other data to measure the performance of this.
Correct. There is no test, train, split, etc. All that, right? So. Okay, finally.